All right, guys. So when it comes to your cabinets and how to prepare and plan for your cabinets, I like to grab a sheet with the grid on here, just regular drafting drawing paper. And I want to get everything to scale first off. So over here, I want to write the date, and I want to write, if it's like, if you got a larger kitchen and you got two different sides to it, like this is the side that has the fridge. The scale that I used in this particular instance, it was 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. So we always want to write our scale on here. I use a mechanical pencil, and I also I use one of these rulers, and then these squares. These seem to work the best. I like the clear one so you can see through, and it helps you to where you can draw, a corner pretty straight. So as you're going through this, it requires quite a bit of concentration to do this. But we want to get everything to scale. We want to draw where the floor is the first line you draw. The second line you draw is where the ceiling is, and then you want to draw your width. So you got to kind of round to, there's only certain dimensions that cabinets are sold in. They're like, you can get them as small as 9 inches, but like 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 36. That's about how your cabinets go. So you're just working with puzzle pieces. Typically, we're going to put one over the fridge, and you got to make sure you get the depth right and the height right for your fridge cabinet. And then you want to make sure that your cabinet installers install it above the fridge so the fridge can still fit. In this case, we have a 36-inch fridge, and that leaves us with 42 inches in between. We chose to divide this one with a 24-inch wide pantry floor to ceiling, almost floor to ceiling, cabinet right there. And then we did an upper for this one. Uppers are only 12 inches deep. Lowers, they're 24 inches deep. And this one is 18 inches wide. We always want to circle the side that the doorknob goes on so we know which way it's going to open, because we want doors to open the correct way whenever we're operating this. Usually the stove or the fridge is going to be the primary person you're catering to. So this was a little bit of a harder island to draw, but DW, that's your dishwasher, comes out right there. We had a 36-inch sink base, which is written right there. And then we did a 12-inch set right there. That happened to have 3 drawers on it. And then the back, what we did, we just bought a large 8x4 foot panel and put that over the back to cover up the back of the island. You'll do the same. Sometimes you'll even need corner and trim pieces. Not every time. You can always ask me about those in those events. So this is our master bathroom. We chose to put a 36-inch sink base right there. It's got 3 drawers. We typically want to put our drawers to the right-hand side. And that just came as a set. And then we bought an extra 18-inch to fill up this extra space. And then we left a spot open so theoretically a woman could do her makeup and have a spot for her chair to go and her legs to fit in. And then we stuck another 36-inch sink base right there. We took our note down here. It's 118 inches. This one is a 1/2 inch scale. So that means if we take this to it and we calculate it, it's 2 scale. So right here you can see we're at 1.5 inches. That is 3/2 inches, which 1/2 inch equals a foot. So you see we have 36 inches. It's a full 3 foot. And you can do that on all of these. Like this right here, this is this 18 inches, it's 3/4 of an inch. So it's 1 foot, it's 1.5 feet. We start at the bottom, draw your bottom line first, and then you want to measure out your ceilings. They're going to be 9 foot or they're going to be 10 foot. And then draw your line over there. Your cabinets are typically going to be at 36 inches tall for your bases. And yeah, so you would draw that bottom line. You would draw it just like this. Boom, hit the bottom line. Do your conversion for if you got 10-foot ceilings, you're going to go up 5 inches. If it's a 1/2 inch to 1 foot scale, and then if you're 9 foot, you're going to go up to 4.5. Then you would just work your way around, draw your scale over there, draw it over here, come down here and go up 1.5 inches to right there. Boom. And now you have the top of your countertop. And technically I think it's like 34.5, but when they put that 1.5 inches of countertop on there, it works out to exactly 36. You always want to draw in your stuff like your sink faucet so you don't so you can stay focused. If it's a swinging door with hinges on the inside, you're gonna draw a circle for your doorknobs. And if it's a drawer, I put a line so you know you got to pull it open. Doesn't have to be that way whenever it actually gets installed, but that's typically the way I keep track of what's a drawer and what is just a door. Okay. So we got a stove. In this case, we have a 36-inch stove. We did another, I think this was like an 86-inch or 96-inch tall pantry cabinet. Those are bigger. Sometimes they can throw your stove off center, so just keep that in mind. We want to make sure that we put something close to, like I would try to go with this same format when you're getting around the stove for every house. We got our drawers here. I've even labeled these on another sheet, like pots, and then we got pans, then we got lids. This is where your silverware goes. This is where your utensils go, like all your cooking utensils, the stuff you hold in your hand. If you do a trash can, make sure you make it 18 inches. I already made the mistake. Got one that was too small, but 18 inches is the minimum you can do if we're gonna have a trash can in the cabinets. It's more expensive to have the drawers in. So if you are trying to get things for cheaper, you're gonna go 36-inch cabinets, 36 inches wide, and you're gonna have just a swinging door on them. That's gonna be the way to get things the cheapest. And but the best way to do it, if you had a good estimate, you're still hitting things on track, the best way to do it is to have a lot of drawers. People love those drawers because you can get super organized. We were even able to fit a 12-inch wide thing in here just for your pan. So all those little cookie pan things you got, some of y'all are probably thinking about your apartments and how those are just a mess right now. When we build a house, we put them in a nice, neat spot. So this is a good format. This is like for a right-handed person. We got the trash away from everybody. We did 42-inch uppers up here. So you got 30, 36, and 42. Then you have just all the way up to the ceiling, which technically generally you have to custom build those. But I went with 42-inch. If you're going with 10-foot ceilings, we like to do 42-inch. But if that budget's getting tight, we might need to do 30. Might need to do 36. You got to calculate for your stove here. Are you going to have a vent or are you going to have a microwave above it? And if you're going to have a vent, make sure you give, I think this has a 1 foot, we're 1 foot above. So this is technically a 36-inch cabinet with 12 inches of space here. And then we drop in that 6-inch stove vent, and then we send it all out. And if you're actually going out of the house through the roof, you'll need to get some extra material, such as another 4x8 panel, about 1/4 inch thick, and the corner pieces to go out of here. You'll also need to order off the website a piece of crown molding to cover the top of that. Depending on which cabinet you're going with, sometimes if you have an exposed side, like there's no wall right here, if that is exposed and it's unfinished, you'll have to put a finished piece on the side. Most of these, you don't need any kick plates on the front. Sometimes you do, but with these cabinets, we did not need kick plates because technically the cabinets do not go all the way to the ground. They start about 3.5 to 4 inches above the ground. If you're on like a raised platform for some reason, make sure you consider that because you'll need a piece of trim to go on the bottom to cover up your platform. When you're doing your islands, make sure your corners get the same. They need a stain piece. It's just a 90-degree, 1 inch on each side of the 90-degree, and that goes on there. Okay. When I'm first planning with a customer, I'll even I'll even write in like we're gonna put the microwave here, your smoothies here, your espresso here. We're gonna put your mugs down here. Like I'll draw out what each drawer is gonna be for. Not saying you have to do that for every single customer, but if these are like custom cabinets, so like you can see on here, we got our smoothie and then we got our heater. That's like a teapot heater electric thing, and then we got an espresso machine. So I made this so that, and we put a plug in the back of these, and then for each drawer, like these are slide out drawers, you got to pay extra for those. You can pull these out and just have your espresso machine right there, close it up. Some people call it a garage. And then you've got everything total, nothing's ever on the countertops because it's all hidden in the cabinets. And, you know, that's the perfect world how you do it. But this is a list, and you can see right here, I wrote, like, in those drawers, we got our spices, we got our oils. This, I think, was actually going to be, originally this wasn't going to be a drawer. It was going to be a just a shelf. And then we put, I write down where everything goes. Not saying you got to do that, but if you got a real picky customer, it might be a good thing to do, because once those cabinets come in, there's no refunds. It's expensive. It takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to get these cabinets. And then if they're custom, like that's if we're ordering them off a website. If you can go up to Home Depot, buy some of them like right now, leave with them today. But if they're custom built, they might need 2 months to get them all built. The next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to count all of your doorknobs here and your drawer handles. Get a good accurate count on that. Jump on Amazon, and that is where you're going to purchase those. I want all of those delivered at the same time the cabinets come in. And that way, the cabinet installer can go ahead and put his hardware on, and we're all clear. And when he finishes, if paint's still going on, I want all of these taped off. Sometimes you talk the painter into it, but same with our bathtubs. I want the plumber, tape that stuff off. I'm tired of looking at dirty, brand new stuff. So make sure we get everything taped off. Make sure we write our date, where we're at in the house, and like which wall it is. And you break these down. Like this is the stove wall. This house had 2 walls. But that is how this works. A couple tools that I always carry pencils, and you should too. And then I carry one of these, and this drawing paper helps you get your corners square. But that is the basics of how we do our cabinets and drawing for them. You'll need to go to the house and you'll need to get these measurements. Like that's 135 inches. I do it all in inches whenever I do cabinets. And you'll need to check your height. It's probably, you got a 9 foot, or you got an 8, 9, or 10 foot ceiling typically. So not super hard, but this does take, I'd budget out about 2 hours for this, maybe 3 hours if it's your first time doing it.